I've also on my part there creating a marketplace, because there will be a time where we need those things. Christians, the children of God, right now must begin to think how to become independent of world systems. Let me put it that way. Must begin to learn how to become independent of world systems.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? Begin to have your social networks. Begin to have your communities. Begin to have your marketplace where people can exchange what they have. What is marketplace? It's a place where people can exchange what they have, you know.
Yeah.
So if you have rice and I have beans and you need beans, I can take some rice from you.
Yeah.
You take beans.
Yeah.
Okay. Create marketplace on your own where you can control, because the world system is moving towards total control. The world system is moving towards total control. So Christians must learn to become independent of such systems. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It is possible. Don't say it's not possible. The people who are doing those things are humans like us. They are humans like us. The only thing is that they have confidence. You know, they have the confidence. They feel like they are so pushed, motivated by the evil pushing them.
Yeah.
You know, the difference between us and them is that the evil pushing them can threaten their life. You see, if you don't implement this thing, I'm going to cut off your hand. You know?
Yeah.
And they'll, because of that pressure and the fear of that spirit, do that which they have been asked to do. But we have a God that is not holding a gun on our head to say, if you don't do this, I'll cut off your head. No. That's why we feel as if, you know, anything goes. But if we take it serious and we know that God is with us, we have the faith and we walk by that faith, there is nothing that can stop us.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Glory to God. There is nothing that can stop us. There is nothing. Glory to God.
Glory to God.
Hallelujah.